Welcome. I'm Robert Ridpath from Health Synergy, and today I've got a question for you. How do you talk to yourself? I mean, that little voice we all have inside of us, how do you talk to yourself? Are you kind? Are you gentle? Are you supporting? Or are you a little bit harsh, a little bit mean, maybe belittling, right? And what are the words you're choosing to describe yourself to yourself? You see, another aspect of this is, what is the tone of the words that you're using and your language every day? Are they positive? Are they negative? And do you even know? Do you listen to this inner voice? You see, this has a huge impact on the quality of your life and the results that you have, your success and your happiness. So in this video, what you're going to learn is, well, let me go back. The reason I made this video is I want to share a deeper understanding about self-talk so you can take it back, control, and regain direction in your life so you can get unstuck and get to that next level. It's going to help reduce your stress, your anxiety, boost your mood, and make you feel a little bit happier, of course. So I want to share some of the key things that you have to watch out for, that way you don't make the same mistakes as me and you get to progress faster. And also, I want to share the mistakes that others won't tell you about, and this alone can make a huge difference in your forward progression. I also want you to proactively start listening and watching how your thoughts may be taking you out, and so you can catch them and correct them and repair and recover. You're also going to explore some of the reasons why you should be thinking about your results in your life right now, today, and your situation. And we're also going to explore why the researchers keep saying self-talk is so important. This metric is a key metric to improving our success and happiness. We're also going to look at some practicable, doable brain hacks that you can do right away to boost your happiness and so on. Now, you may think you don't need to do this, and that's fine. But then again, you're never really going to be able to live up to your full potential and have the meaning, the happiness, and the success that you want in your life. However, by becoming aware of this, you're going to take back control of your life. You can live more authentically, and that's going to lead to greater happiness, greater fulfillment, and greater peace of mind. All the researchers and the big experts, they say this is important, as do the therapists. So let's now take a look at why self-talk and this inner dialogue is so important and how to take control of it and direct it to more happiness and success in our life. Self-talk. That's this little voice, this internal dialogue that we all have. It's something we do naturally throughout our waking hours. People are becoming more and more aware that positive self-talk is a powerful tool for increasing your self-confidence and for curbing negative emotions. And people who can master positive self-talk are thought to be more confident, motivated, and productive. This is by Tim Legg, MD, on Healthline. And let's look a bit deeper at who uses self-talk. Well, it's absolutely key in personal relationships in terms of the things and how we perceive the world with our prejudices, our stereotypes, and so on. It's important for mental health, and we'll talk about this idea of stinkin' thinking. It's important for anger management, depression, and anxiety. How about athletes, those high performers? Everyone knows all these key athletes, these top athletes, have sports psychologists, so we know it's important for them. It's important in psychology or cognitive behavioral therapy. It's important in religion. It's important in our finances. It impacts the types of decisions we make in both our personal and business financial lives. It impacts our blueprint on the types of moves that we'll make. And controlling self-talk is vital for a life well lived. Now, with self-talk, there's internal or external. Internal is that voice we hear inside, like, yes, you can do it. Or maybe it's you burst it out. It's like, yes, come on, you can do it. Something like that. It can be positive or negative, or it even can be just neutral, like a comment. It can be instructional or motivational. It can be strategic. And what they say is strategic self-talk is the most instructional or motivational. Like, come on, you can do this, you got this, or try it this way, give it another shot, things like that. Negative self-talk is associated with negative outcomes. And I want you to hold on to that point for a minute because that will become key in just a few moments. So there's this whole idea of a self-fulfilling prophecy. Too many of us are telling ourselves non-supporting prophecies, and then we go on to live into them. And we'll talk about how this comes about. People are never able to outperform their self-image, how they actually believe they are. So if you're an athlete, for example, you're never going to be a top performer if you keep thinking to yourself, I'm just a mediocre, I'm a middle of the pack type person. And this is important in all aspects of our life. If you put a small value on yourself or your abilities, the world will not raise the price. That's a quote by John Maxwell. So when we talk about our self-talk, the internal dialogue we have, what is the narrative? And by that I mean, what is the story we're telling ourselves? So what story do we choose to believe about ourselves? And I really have to emphasize that word choose, and we'll talk about that. You see, in life is 10% what happens to you and 90% how you choose to react to what happens to you. The quality of our life actually comes down to our choices. And choices are greatly impacted by our self-talk. Now this is interesting. When they looked at studies of people, and it's an interesting study, they gave them pieces of paper and they said, write down all the positive words you can. And most people filled up about 1 page of words. And then they gave them some more paper and they said, okay, why don't you write down all the negative words you can? And guess what? People came up with about twice as many negative words as positive words in their mental repertoire, if you will. And that means if we have more negative terms and words, we tend to use them more. And the more we use them, the more we develop the neural pathways. It's just easier for the brain to call upon them, right? So we have to make a conscious effort to use positive words and break this habit. So when people say, what kind of day do you want to have? Often they'll say, have a good day, almost like as in a question like, are you going to have a good day? Or I hope you have a good day. Look at the subtle differences if we said, make it a great day, or yes, make it a great day. Big difference. Our thoughts, our words, our speech, and our emotions. If you're using negative words, that's going to lead to a negative attitude towards what you're trying to do. And guess what? That's going to lead to negative outcomes. So if you change your words, you can change your attitude. What you say and how you say it is very, very important. What is your inner voice telling you? What are the words you're choosing? And what questions are you asking yourself? In this little pictogram, the person is running, relaxing, meditating, reading, or they're maybe drinking too much or eating unhealthy foods. What is that going to do to them? And in your brain, when you're choosing these different words, you have to ask yourself, do you have stinking thinking? And what we mean by that is, are you always choosing negative words? And this is often something subconsciously you don't even know. It's just a habit you're running on autopilot. And in our brain, we have something, and I'll just simplify it by calling it the thinker and the prover. And in the brain, if you think something like, I'm a dummy, for example, the prover side of the brain will go out into all the memories you have, and it will selectively find the ones where you did something silly. And it'll say, there's some proof that you messed up. Or it will look at what you're doing today, and you might trip on something and say, look, there you go, you're a dummy, right? Well, that's one out of a million things. And if you keep using negative words to describe yourself, guess what happens? You start believing them. Your behavior will then change because there's something called the congruency of behavior. Your expectations change, and your internal interactions with the world change. And guess what? You get different results. The prover will go out to get proof that's who you are. So if you're telling yourself, man, I'm a dummy, I'm silly, I'm foolish, or whatever, the prover will go out and prove that and quote unquote reinforce that in your mind. However, if you said to yourself, well, I'm a smart guy, but I just made a mistake, the prover will do the same. It'll go out and in your memory, it'll find all the things you've done to prove that you're a smart person. And if you mess up, it'll say, yeah, that's a one-off sort of thing. Limited words. Often, most of us, we have habitually used the same words. So we have, for lack of other terms, a smaller vocabulary. This leads to limited possibilities. And we use these unconsciously. We must become aware of this non-supporting habit of using the same words all the time, and often they're negative words. Facebook did a study in 2012, and they took two groups of people. And in the advertisement that these people were shown, they're shown more positive words in the post or more negative words in the post. And what happened? The group that saw more negative words, they ended up writing more negative posts. And the group that saw more positive words, guess what? They wrote more positive posts. So people would write and reflect the way or what they were seeing in the post. So the types of words impact how we respond. There's something called emotional contagious theory. So for example, with fake news, and that could be regular news these days, if it's negative, it increases the intensity of our emotions. And if it's highly emotional, we tend to have this urge to share it, and it goes viral. That's how these things happen. Often really positive things don't go viral. It's really negative things that do. So watch your thoughts. They become your words. Watch your words. They become your actions. Watch your actions. They become your habits. And watch your habits, because those will become your character. And watch your character. It becomes your destiny, the results you have in life. The quality of your thinking now will determine how your life will be tomorrow, next week, next month, next year. Your thinking shapes and forms your future. You build the container within which you build your future, your whole life. And what is the container? It's our imagination, our vision, and our beliefs regulated by our subconscious. All right, you've now got this concept that self-talk and the words we say to ourselves, our self-definition, are incredibly important in our happiness and our success. And that ultimately they impact what you will or what you won't do, the actions you take. And ultimately they impact the results in your life. So let's get on top of this and get back into control with some brain hacks. And by the way, brain hacks are strategies and techniques that you can use to take back control and reprogram your brain. So let's get you moving to the next level. The most important brain hack that you can do with this is listen. You see, your mind is going to play games on you, and we've all heard this. So let's take control and play some games on it, right? Let's get into control, the driver's seat. So you want to listen, and you want to acknowledge that, yes, I have this little inner voice, this self-talk, and you want to start listening to what it says. Listen for the labels that it used to describe yourself. Listen for the words that you use to describe situations. If something happens, was that horrendous? Was that okay? Was that pretty good? Or no big deal? You see, it makes a big difference. And listen to the words that you're using to describe yourself. This is really important. And also, listen for this little voice. This is my favorite, and it says, I already know that. You see, if you hear that phrase coming up, that is your inner voice trying to keep you stuck. And what will happen is it's closing the door. It says, man, I already got this. I don't need this. I already know that. No way. You have to listen for that. That's key, because that will say, your brain says, I don't need this information. I don't want to change. Well, if you want to change, you got to listen for that. And when it says that, it kind of limits your learning and your growth. So let's flip that around, right? So if your little voice says, I already know it all, can we flip that around into a learn it all? Get curious, right? So control your inner narrative, what you're constantly saying to yourself. It's going to have a huge impact on your life. Direct your mind's focus. Give it, I'm a bit older, use new tapes, new CDs, new programs, give it new direction. Tell it what words to use. Tell it, yeah, maybe that's the way I was. Maybe I was a dummy before. That's the way I was, but now I'm getting better. I'm improving, right? Tell it what to look for, because your brain has this unique mechanism where it is going to seek out whatever you give it subconsciously to look for. So tell it to look for the good. Look for the great. Tell it to look for your successes, your positives, right? Tell it to look for your skills. Tell it to look for the things that make you happy, the things that make you powerful, confident, and so on. And you're going to have some self-doubt. All of us do. So your little voice might say, well, hey, Robert, man, I'm not that way. I'm a dummy still. I'm not over here. Well, you can diffuse that very easily with one powerful little phrase. And you should write this down. This phrase is, I'm in the process of ... What that means is, you're right. Maybe now you're in one situation and you want to get to another situation and your brain says, man, that's too big of a leap. I can't see myself there. No problem. Tell your brain, your inner voice, that you're right. I'm not over there yet. However, I'm in the process of transforming and becoming that way. Right? And all you have to do is take one small action step to get you there. So how can I help you with this? An amazing brain hack. One of the things you got to do is go to Google and look up and type in positive, uplifting words and find 25 new positive words that you can use. And this is one of these ones you got to print it out, or you got to copy and paste into your phone, and you got to look at this and you got to read them at least 2 times a day for 30 days. And then you know what you do? You go into Google and you get 25 other new words and you do the same thing. And once you've done this, you can take your phone, because we all have a phone, and you can make your own supporting and motivating recording. You're going to be your own personal self-coach, if you will, right? And you're going to make a recording of these words and how you want to use them. And this is going to make you feel great. You listen to that a couple times a day. Maybe you listen to it before a meeting, right? You got to go into a meeting, a presentation of some sort, and you listen to this. Yeah, you're upbeat, you're positive, you're insightful, you listen well, you get curious, whatever the words are. And that's going to set you up to win. Another amazing brain hack. Again, you have to redefine who you are. So you have to change the self-talk that you have about yourself. So start choosing new words to describe yourself. Again, from your word summary list, maybe you come up with 10 amazing words that you want to use to describe yourself. Find 5 words that you really resonate with at your heart and soul. Write them out on a card, put it in your wallet, into your phone, sticky on your mirror, in front of your computer, whatever, and read them every day, many, many times. And use that to redefine yourself. Who do you want to be? And then next week, get some new words, do it again, right? So, it always comes back to the same thing. The question isn't who's to blame or whose fault is this? No. Rather, it's what are you going to do about it? How are you going to become response able? How are you going to choose to respond? And I know that might seem foreign to some people, but you get to choose how you respond. Do you want to be empowered? Do you want to be response able? And do you want to be proactive? Or do you want to just get sucked into the vortex and pulled down? It's really important to me that you get this stuff because this is going to change your life. So we're going to go into a deeper dive with this in the next training on this. It's loaded with powerful techniques and strategies to help you break the chains holding you back. It's going to get you to that next level. It's going to boost your motivation, get you excited. So let's go do this together. Go watch that next training video now.